Well, those temperatures are starting to drop just a little bit, and we're going to see more people using their fireplaces and maybe making fires in their heaters at home. We have you today, Captain Michael Robinson, and he is with the fire department here in Montgomery, and he's going to talk to us about fire safety. Thank you for being with us on Joy in Our Town today.
Thank you.
And we know that usually it's during the winter months, and when things are cooling off, it's when people start using more fires in their homes and get a little careless.
Yes, sir.
And so we want to have you to talk to us today about some of the ways we can prevent accidents and problems with fire. First of all, help us to understand what are we talking about when we mention fire prevention.
Fire prevention is pretty much doing everything to prevent fires in the house, whether it's putting electrical covers in the socket, to testing your smoke detectors, to making sure your fireplace is cleaned out. All this stuff for here is preventing fires.
Okay. You mentioned about electrical sockets. You know, many times, especially when we start decorating for the holidays and for Christmas and all, people will get maybe 5 or 6 extension cords and connect them all together. And is this a dangerous thing to do, even though they have on the package that it's perfectly safe?
It is pretty dangerous. What you want to do, at least have a surge protector. And use the surge protector and use the strip. With that in mind, if you did have something, that surge protector would kind of kill out the outlet. You don't want to overload that socket with 5 or 6 outlets, plugs going into the outlet. So that's a good thing to do.
Okay. All right. And so what about those that's got about 5 or 6 different sockets on them? I mean, you know, people figure, well, we can just load all of this into it because we got a place for it. I mean, are you saying that's dangerous?
That is very dangerous.
Wow.
What you want to do is undo all them plugs, get you it's called a surge protector. Okay. And with that, you plug a plug in that outlet, and on that you have a breaker on that strip there. Okay. You plug each plug in that strip there. In case something goes out, it will kill that power to that.
That's the purpose of the breaker.
Yes.
The breaker is the safety device on there that will keep it from causing a fire.
Yes.
Great, great. All right. We're looking at particularly house fires at this point. How many deaths, or do you know is there a large number of deaths and injuries that take place in our area during certain months of the year?
The winter months are could be pretty bad because people are trying to stay warm. And you're looking at the homeless people, you're looking at people that's in homes that want to put space heaters in the house, and sometimes they use candles to stay warm. With that in mind, you can have a lot of house fires because of that.
We find also quite a few children are injured, or even some deaths caused by house fires. What are some of the things that is causing so many children to get trapped in these fires? Well,
you can look at kids playing with matches can start a fire, and then they run and try to hide from the fire once they start the fire. That could be one thing. The next thing could be even in a house fire and the parents are there. You know, with that in mind, you still can have people getting trapped in fires and the kids going a different direction. That's the most important thing is doing a fire plan, doing a fire drill in the home, being aware of that.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to get right on to that. Sometimes what happens, I guess, with when children start a fire and they know they did it, oftentimes they'll go and try to hide and see if maybe it'll just all go away and nobody will find out, and they're trying to keep from getting in trouble. But all the time that fire is building up, and it causes a lot of damage. The house is on fire and maybe other people don't know about it, and that's one of the reasons why people get trapped in fires. Sometimes caused by children. We also see statistically that many fires are caused by people just smoking cigarettes, or you know, even using their stoves for cooking and leaving food on the stove. Which, you know, what you find mostly? Is it people smoking or just leaving food on the stove?
I would say food on the stove.
That's the most.
That's the most. People cook, and they might get to the phone, get a phone call, forgot to leave the stove on, and start doing something else. and they leave the stove on. That's a lot of fires that here in Montgomery are caused by food left on the stove.
Wow, wow. Well, what can we do? Should we put up a sign in our own homes that say, remember to turn off the stove?
No, it's just practicing what you do. If you're in the kitchen, you pay attention to what you're doing, you know, and stop trying to minimize, not minimizing, but trying to juggle so many things while you're cooking.
Yeah.
Cooking, pay attention to that.
Yeah. A lot of folks think they got octopus arms and they can do a lot of different things, multitasking and so forth. And sometimes you can forget some of the most important things. And a lot of these are caused by elderly people also. Is that what's happening?
Yes, elderly people, and you have a lot of young people.
Okay.
That cooks, and you know, just cook and just forget they got food on the stove. It's the phone thing.
Yeah,
like
getting
that.
on the phone.
Getting on the phone. Yes.
Oh wow. Well, that's a distraction not only on the highways but also in the home.
Yes.
Talk to us about smoke detectors and what type of smoke detectors are the best to have in our homes, and also how to maintain them.
Okay. There's a couple smoke detectors out there. You got this photoelectric smoke detector, the ionization smoke detector, which picks up different particles of smoke in the house. Once you have a smoke detector in the house, if you got a 3-story house, 2-story house, you put them on all levels of the house, even in the basement. New thing now, if you have a smoke detector, you want to make sure that it's in the bedroom or in proximity of the bedroom, which could be the hallway.
Okay. Very good. And changing batteries out, how often?
Yes, you want to change your battery out annually, and people pick a time of the year. Daylight saving time is a good example.
Okay.
As far as them changing out this smoke detector battery, or they pick the beginning of the year to change the batteries out.
Okay.
But once you change the battery out, you still have to do your monthly test of that smoke detector to make sure it's still operating properly.
Okay. Usually they'll have some kind of a little button or device on there. All you have to do is press and hold it.
Yes, sir.
And most of them are that way.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. How many? Can you tell us how smoke detectors have saved lives?
Smoke detectors for saving lives I think they're very important because they provide you the early warning other than anything else. I deal with a lot of buildings right now, and daycares is a good example. We put smoke detectors in daycares because it's the early warning for little kids and also for adults. It picks up smoke quicker than a sprinkler system will. Even though a sprinkler system keeps them in check, you want to make sure that smoke detector gives you the early warning as far as getting out of the building or out of your house.
Yeah, sprinkler systems come on after it's already happened, I guess.
Well, it causes the heat. The heat causes that to activate, where your smoke gives you the early warning in order to get out the building.
Okay.
Or out the house.
Now, this is something good for us to remember in our own homes. Talk to us about how important it is to have a plan in our homes. I know most daycares are going to have them, schools are going to have them, and places like that. But in our homes, are we seeing people practicing having some kind of a plan to get out of the house during a house fire?
We don't see any plans on that because we don't deal with residential. But it's very important to have a plan. If you practice it at school, you can practice it at home too. The plan is good because it allows the family a way of practicing is getting out the house. Normally, everybody goes to the front door, back door, getting out, doing your fire drill. And you can practice that. But sometimes that way out is not always good. You can have a fire that's blocking that way you normally would go. So you want to use your bedroom as your second way of getting out. So we try to advise people, or even when we do apartments, which is almost like a house, to not put a bed at your window. Yeah. That's your second means of getting out. Okay. Can be. Okay. 2-story house, whatever, you can have a fire escape ladder, which they sell them at stores. You use that as a second way of getting out. Okay. Okay. And once you're out the house, you got another plan as far as a meeting place. Yes. Where everybody would meet at. Whether it's a mailbox, a neighbor house, you want to have that.
And that's probably the most important thing about the plan, isn't it? Is that you get out the best way you can in some situations, because many people would say, well, I don't even know how to devise a plan for our home, and I don't know, what's the best way to do. But just doing something, if you would just plan something and say, well, let's try this, that still helps more so than not doing anything at all.
Who knows your house better than you?
Exactly.
So,
Okay, great. I'd like to talk a little bit about fire extinguishers because it's important for us to have fire extinguishers in our homes.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes people don't even know how to use them. We just have one right here,
Yes,
and maybe you can talk to us about the best type of fire extinguishers to have in the home.
Okay. Right here is a commercial fire extinguisher, but usually you have one that is smaller. What you want to have is make sure it stays in the green, and you can check that on a monthly basis. Make sure it's in the green at all times.
That means it's full.
It's full. You want to get it serviced every year
Okay.
by a certified fire extinguisher company. And in order to use this fire extinguisher, it's very simple. You want to make sure you pull the pin right here. Once you pull the pin, you want to take the nozzle here and pull it out. You want to aim that nozzle at the base of the fire, and then you want to squeeze the trigger.
Right.
And then you want to sweep back and forth, left and right.
Yeah.
And that should keep the fire in check.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Are there times when you would say that even using a fire extinguisher would not be a good idea?
Yes. Yes. If you don't know how to use it, then you call 911.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. But as long as the fire is small, then you might be able to extinguish it yourself.
Yes.
Okay. Now, there are different types of fires. Can you need to get the right kind of fire extinguisher to make sure that you use it for the right fire?
This
Maybe
right here is
talk to us.
a 2A10BC fire extinguisher. It can be used on ordinary wood, paper, whatever. Then you got the B fire extinguisher, which can be used on
Is it grease or?
grease. And then you got the C, which can be electrical.
Okay.
So, but a lot of times you have in the house a 1A fire extinguisher, which is the same thing. It's just a smaller version.
Okay.
And you can use it that way.
Okay, so ABC is what you really want to have.
Yes,
That's
sir.
the very best, the one that's got ABC on it. So
Yes,
that's
sir.
for all types of fire.
Yes, sir.
Very
Yes, sir.
good. Thank you so much for sharing that with us on the program today, Captain. And if anybody have any more questions or need more information, they can contact you with the number that we've had on the screen here today.
Thanks,
So
sir.
we appreciate you being with us on Join Our Town.
Thanks, sir.
Okay. Well, that's all the time we have for this week's program. We hope you'll join us again next week at the same time for more of Joy in Our Town. We'll see you then.